Here, what's happening? This is the Night Job podcast. You were here with Venom the Tiger Dragon, aka Ven Deezel, aka Ven Deezel the Optimist, and here with me is you got okay. Your name's gone now. Um, my lovely wife and co-star and co-host because I introduced her second, Efia Poetry.
Thank you for the instructions. I appreciate it.
All right. So uh, we discussed earlier what exactly we was going to get into today, and it was between vulnerability and a reaction about sex drive. Um, I think it is actually the right thing to do to start with something fun and do the video about sex drive. So this is channel I've been checking out for a while now. They have like really interesting topics that they get into, cinema therapy. This one in particular has nothing to do with movies, but there is an actual therapist on this channel, and he does movie breakdowns with his partner. This one in particular, though, is him and his wife, and how their unconventional sort of sex life, uh, how they work it out. Because contrary to popular belief, niggas ain't trying to fuck all the time. So uh, yeah,
Mill
they
niggas.
kind of get that.
Said mill niggas.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So let's go ahead and get into that here.
My name is Jonathan Decker. I am living the dream. I'm married to an absolutely stunning woman who has a higher sex drive than me. So, what am I complaining about? We're actually going to get really raw and really real today because there's a lot of male shame around this particular subject. And you would think that it would just lead to nonstop awesomeness, but it's been hard for us. So, here we go. Thanks.
You got anything to add to that?
Which part are you talking about? The popular to contrary belief, like you
Just
said it
what he
earlier?
said right there, like about like you would think, for the man that it would just be, oh well, if your wife want to go all the time, then what the problem is?
Yeah, I think that if you're short term, if you have short term point of view, then I can understand why that is not okay. But from the point of view of longevity in a relationship, it's a conversation. There probably needs to be boundaries for everybody's benefit. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I guess, have you ever been under the impression that, like, the man should always be ready to go?
I think that before um, I started to understand men better, I also subscribe to the idea that there was always a need to want to fuck all the time. Like if you listen to like the music nowadays, dudes talking about like fucking a couple times a day, like that being normal. And so
Right.
I subscribed to it too. And then I started fucking. I could never find to match me. Not my needs as frequent as I was wanting it by no means. No. So yeah, it's some ideas we need to break down there.
Right. Generally speaking, I mean, it probably is like half, if not mostly, true. But I mean, there are times where it's like, that's not, especially like, I think one of the things that makes a big difference is the fact that like when you're single, yeah, of course you want to fuck all the time because you ain't got sex readily available when you want it all the time. Like when it gets in house, it's like, okay, well, you know, it gets to a point where like you've been actually indulging that so long that it's like, okay, well, we got other shit to do. So, or I'm tired, or, especially once you get married, like, you got all these responsibilities and shit, that makes a huge difference in just how much time you have and how much energy you actually have to do it all.
Hmm, I agree.
Going fetal and rocking.
Um,
Men did like. So, what do you do when one partner has a higher sex drive than another? The fact is, this is common. This is every day. The issue is that in heterosexual relationships, it is largely the female who has a lower sex drive and a lower sex interest relative to the male. And we've kind of accepted this as normal. And there's not really a lot of shame around that particular subject. There's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of hardship in a lot of relationships because of that. But what happens when it's the male? There's a lot of expectations about masculinity. There's a lot of hurt and heartache for the female. And and of course we could talk about LGBT relationships, but I'm not really qualified to talk about that. But that it exists there too. We're going to go very personal today. Are you ready?
Sure.
We're going to go very personal today with the hope that it helps somebody. So I am, first of all, I identify as something called demisexual, which is cool because they didn't have a name for this when I was growing up. Look, we were growing up. I like to say that that sexuality was like soft serve ice cream flavors. They're basically 3 flavors.
Okay.
There's vanilla and there's chocolate and there's swirl, right? Growing up, like there's straight, there's gay, and there's bi. That was life in the 80s and 90s for us. And now it's like 31 flavors. And when I say now it's like 31 flavors, the fact is those flavors always existed. We didn't have names for them. There were a lot of people who didn't know where they fit in. I identify as demisexual, which means that I am only sexually attracted to somebody that I am emotionally attached to. And I didn't have casual relationships. I tried it once and it turned into a romantic relationship because I couldn't even.
And it turned into commitment.
And it turned into commitment. Like I couldn't even.
You couldn't even date without commitment.
Well, so this episode is not for children, just so you know. But there were several times like where I had a difficulty getting aroused if I was kissing someone, if I didn't feel like an emotional connection. Like if the emotional connection was lacking, then I'd kiss them and I just wouldn't feel anything. There wouldn't be a lot of passion there. You came into our relationship with a lot of passion.
What?
Well, and that comes in part with what we call the closer personality. Closers are very driven. They're very motivated. They're very strong-willed. And a lot of men tend to be closers. And for closers, sexuality is a huge part of a relationship.
Well,
Did somebody say your name?
Yeah, I relate to her about a lot. So I guess from my background, people watching at home, I am in my night job. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I have all these other hats that evolve around my relationship at home. But at work, I'm a closer. I've been in sales for over 5 years. I'm now into enterprise sales, and that is absolutely my life. When he says like closer personalities are highly driven, motivated, self-sufficient people, that is me. Very independent, very open with my thoughts. I've learned to construct them in a more professional manner, but yeah, that is me all the way through and through. Before I got into sales and before I really, nailed down my career path, from a personal point of view, I've always had a stupid high sex drive. I spent a long time trying to figure out how to make it like stop. Like what's my end? Because it didn't seem like it ever would freaking end. Like I would just be fucking all night long. It's like, bro, I'm tired of fucking. Like, where's the period in the damn sentence? I'm tired of these commas and these semicolons. Like, I need a period. Just so I yeah, I get that. Like, I know before I started having more serious relationships, I could fuck for hours, nonstop, not even a water break. I didn't care. But now it's I've learned to tame that. You're right. I've learned to tame it. It took some time. But yeah, overall, like I definitely get that feeling of being a closer personality and like that energy. Like we need some place to put the energy, and sex is a great place to put it. It makes you feel good, especially if you're doing it right. Oh, it feels great. And it has a reward if done right as well. So uh, as sellers, we like rewards, we like being rewarded for our hard work. So yeah.
Right. I can relate to, like I said, like having a higher sex drive when I was younger, and like to this day, like I'm not entirely sure if I've slowed down just because it's always been available, or if it's just because I'm getting old. Like I lean toward I'm just getting old, personally. Because you would think, like, even on my free time, just like any time of day, like, it'd just be like a central thought to me, but it's not like it used to be. I've noticed that. As far as like what he was saying about being a demisexual, um, I mean, I guess that's definitely something to consider with people. Like, there's so many different ways that people can operate. I know for me personally, I'd probably be closer to like a sapiosexual, probably. Like I really get into people's like personalities and intelligence and things like that. Um, yeah, those are the things that I get into. Like, I kind of notice. I mean, of course, physical attraction is, of course, what it is. But I end up noticing shit like, oh, she's into, anime and shit like that. Like those are the things that always stand out to me.
Yeah, not personality. Like looking back at it, and even who I am today, like if we was to ever choose to have like a third party join into a relationship, depending on their function, like I can look past certain shit. Like if the functionality is just to have an experience, then just don't talk. Whoever it is, like I don't trust you. You ain't got to talk. We get past your personality. Everything is look good, perform. I'm all good. But if it's something like more long term, and if we're looking to bring somebody else into a relationship, yeah, I definitely would want to make sure that the connection is there from every angle a person consists of, because at the end, if I can't talk to you like have like a valid
Right.
conversation, like I will just be thinking I'm fucking a clown. And I'm a firm believer of birds of a feather flock together, and I refuse to confuse myself with a clown because the motherfucker's a clown. Like, I will not. So yeah, like, but I guess that's again, if it's long term, then yeah, we got some talking to do. But if it's one of those like, hey, I'm just trying to nut, I don't need you to talk. Just shut the fuck up. I got the rest. Thank you. Have a great day.
Right. All right. Let's keep going.
And quite often, men are socialized to be that way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Naturally or
natural,
not,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So it is the genetic tendency, but it's also this cultural social.
And for a lot of men, if there is sex, then I feel loved. Whereas for a lot of what we call the healer personality type, which happens to be a lot of women, but again, the polarization.
Right.
For healer personality types, I need to feel loved in order to feel sexual, right? And so
That's interesting.
I'd be interested to get my
You
hands
relate
on
to that,
list
like,
of sexual. Oh.
You say what?
I'll be interested in getting my hands on that list to understand the different types of sexuality that we've been identified, just because I'm pretty sure I stand somewhere in there whenever I'm in my logical mind, for the most part, anyhow. But the healer relationship, the point of view versus, what he said, healer versus the, I don't, what he said, demisexual, but what was the one that the men were socialized to? Did he say the second one?
I don't remember. Hold on.
It's okay. You don't gotta go back. That's okay. I do think that society definitely provides the guidelines and standards of what
I
people
came
are
into
supposed
our
to do.
relationship. I mean, I have a sexual side.
My bad.
You see, this lag is like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What were you saying though?
Oh, socializing. I had to think about it. So socializing, I think that that's a grander concept to kind of start, not just to break down, but to it has a place in the equation. It's so prevalent everywhere you look, like whether in music or in books or in movies, that women, even when we was watching Afro Samurai, like the girl that ended up being double agent, like she fell in love with him and she was trying to heal him literally after he had gotten into a fight and found a safe place. And
Mhm.
that healing process, though she's supposed to be trying to kill him, made her fall in love with him. Like that. It's everywhere in movies. Like even when I think about with
Mhm.
Transporter, I don't know which one it is, but like there's always a female, like it's
Yeah.
always a girl, and the girl is always very standoffish at first, like, "Ugh, I'd never touch you," and then by the time you get turn around, they trying to figure out how to fuck. So it's like, yeah, I get this. It's definitely, society definitely has played a role in making us believe that we're only supposed to be connected under certain circumstances from the female
Mhm.
point of view. And I've always hated that crap because I've never felt that way as a kid. Like as a teenager growing up to a young adult to a whole adult, I never subscribe to the idea that I lied. I did subscribe to it at first, and I quickly found out that that wasn't me. Like I don't want
Right.
to fix you. Like I don't mean you in particular, but whoever I was dating. Like this whole idea that I have to fix you for you to love me is some bullshit. Or fix you for me to be attracted to you or to want to be with you. Like that level of vulnerability, it's one-sided, because while I'm fixing you, like what the hell are you doing for me? So no, I don't
Mhm.
like it. But you know, life.
Mhm. That's an interesting one to unpack. Um, I remember talking to somebody years ago where, like, I was always confused about why women like will have men in the friend zone and then wonder why most of their actual relationships never work out. It's like, okay, well, why all these men are in the quote unquote friend zone? And one woman told me that she knew that she wasn't ready for that. Like he was actually a great guy, but she felt like she wasn't good enough for
Mm.
him. And so, she'll go and, deal with these other dudes that, yeah, they're fun to hang around, but, they can't be, taken seriously long term. But at the same time, she'll try to make him into this better thing. And then, when the shit don't work out, then she has an excuse for why it didn't work out. Because he wasn't shit. But you knew that going in though. So
I mean, that
I
could be
wonder how
a
much that plays
fear of
into it.
success happening.
What's that?
I mean, not success. Like that's like a fear of failure almost. Like you're stepping into a situation that damn sure is stacked up against you, but you're trying to prove your worth up against a situation that had nothing to do with you to begin with. Like it's one of those, we're striving for something to prove when essentially you are enough. Like you don't need to prove yourself to any fucking body. So yeah, I think that's absolutely the logic I had when I was younger, thinking that especially you think about like growing up, we heard a lot about ride or die bitches, like ride or die bitch. Like I got that
Mhm.
girl who's always there, holds me down when times are rough, who stays by me while I'm fucking other people and doing these other dumb shit. Like that was a thing, that was a dynamic that was praised and was exploited to be, to showcase what a girl and boy is supposed to look like at the end of the day. And I tried it like once, like seriously committed to trying it once, and I just couldn't. Like it's like I couldn't. Like I couldn't. Like and it's because again, literally again thinking about it, like I sat down, like what are you doing for me? Like I'm here for you. Like I'm saving my pussy for you while you fucking everything in the book. uh I'm saving my house just to make sure you got a place to lay your head on random ass days. Like what am I getting from this shit? Like nothing. And I think it didn't help. I was very independent. I was independent pretty young, and when I had my own, like I didn't have to depend on anybody for anything. So for the most part, like the idea of waiting for a guy to come back to me after he'd been hoeing around, it's like, bro, I'm good with you hoeing around. Like I actually have nothing against it. Like that's your prerogative. Don't expect me to be here when you finish though, bro. Like that's exactly what my logic was. And I remember I told one dude, like, bro, so since you got half your shit here, here's the rent I pay half up front, like half. And he was like, oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Okay, well, get the fuck out then. Like, happily to put your stuff out. Like, it's not that serious for me. Because, like, I'm not trying to fix you. Like, this, like the whole song that Drake has with somebody. And I'm like, I can't subscribe to that logic. Like, I got enough love for both, for me and you, for me. Bitch, no. You better figure out how to love me enough, bitch. If not, I ain't got time for it. But that's what society says we're supposed to be healing people, but nobody's putting anything to us. Like where am I getting how am I being replenished if I'm putting everything to you? Fuck out of here. No.
Right. And that's one of those things I'm hearing a whole lot more in conversations lately where of course, we're in this place socially and economically where women can take care of themselves for the most part. And a whole lot of these dudes are having this issue of like not knowing how to show up. And it seems to me, women is trying to give these niggas the cheat code. Like, okay, well, yeah, I don't necessarily actually know what there's a thing to unpack that maybe you have some insight about. Okay, so if a man can't, no, not if a man can't. All right, so you make your own bread, you take care of yourself. What does a man need money for to be with you if you're fine financially on your own?
What's the ultimate goal? To be together? To justify being with somebody?
I'm saying like if he's a good guy overall, he's just not, making whatever amount of money. How much of a problem is that? Like, would that be sort of a deal breaker?
Because I can get real right now and tell you how I really feel about that shit.
I'm just kind of trying to get a baseline because I mean, like I have my theory where it's like it's not that the woman wants a man to like his money is her money and her money is her money type of shit. It's more like she doesn't want to feel like she's taking care of a nigga.
No, so
that's my
again like this is against popular belief. I can take care of myself. Like we're married. If we was ever get divorced, I will be fine by myself. Number one. Number two, I'm bringing this down to my point of view because this is the best point of view I can give to the conversation, right? When I evaluate our relationship and whenever I get angry or I start throwing the D word around just out of anger and just trying to process whatever the hell has happened, the reality in itself is I didn't marry you for money, period. I didn't marry you because I needed you to pay my bills. I didn't marry you because I need to have roof over my head. Like I didn't marry you for any of those reasons. I could have, and I think that you would have did your damnedest to meet that standard if I ever, was to just have that personality. But it's not me. Number one. Number two, like when I married you, when I met you, when I married you, and while we're together, like the role that you play in my life is so much more than money. Money is a tool. It's a resource, right? And so at the end of the day, it comes and it goes. It serves a purpose some days it don't, depending on how frugal and flashy we're trying to be. But the commitment I made to you, even before we got married, was more that I would do my damnedest to make this family work. What I needed from you was everything that I can't do. Like everything that I can't do efficiently. Like you are my anchor. So even if I have to pay the bills in the house, which we both have been in a situation where we have to hold a house down independent of each other, even if I gotta do all that shit by myself, like I'm gonna hold the house down, not because I have to or because I feel compelled to do it, to take care of you. Like as long as I guess what I'm trying to get to is if I feel that you're using me for my money, then we have a problem. You know, in my opinion, then I have a problem because what the fuck are we married for? If you're married to me to get a free ride in life, by all means, please leave. You hear me? But if you're married to me because you want to have a partner in this shit we call life, then that's why I married you. Like I married you because you were a friend to me. I married you because we can laugh through some shit. Like I literally remember thinking to myself that I'm ready to get married because I found my ride or die. Like from my perspective, like what I would categorize as a ride or die. Like I found somebody that will figure out how to make ends meet when I am at my worst. You hear me? Because I've never had that shit before. And so when I get back on my feet and I start hustling and grinding and do what I do, bro, I know how much money I make. You know, I know what I do, I know what I don't do. But I also know that I'm not with you for money. I'm with you because you keep me sane when chaos is everywhere. You know, you keep me grounded. And that may seem like a regular fucking job, but bro, everybody can't fucking do this shit because I'm complex in that. Like you just can't tell me stop, bitch. Who the fuck you talking to? You can't just tell me stop flat out. You gotta know how to rub me in the right way for me to actually accept and receive what you're trying to give to me. And you, though, as much as I don't I act like I don't like you being in the gray area, like I enjoy it because I'm black and white. I need gray every fucking now and then. So no, like I don't know. I don't know if that helps answer your question, but money is if money is a driver in a relationship even being initiated, walk the fuck away. Like that's how I look at it, like off top. Like if it's the driver, like if it's one of those where I got another kid and I'm not sure how that's gonna work, that's a conversation. I understand that being a conversation. But if it's one of those, well, I got, $50,000 in bills every single year, and if you can't hold this down, you're not worth being with me. Yes, walk the fuck away, male or female. It's not right. It's not time for you to try to procreate with any fucking body on this earth, and the only thing you care about is money. Now, that's my point of view. I'm pretty sure there are other people who have different lifestyles where that is a factor. Think about sugar babies and sugar whatever. Like money is a driving factor. But that's upfront noted, duly noted, and respected. But one of these, like, I'm just gonna meet somebody off the streets and hey, but you can't pay my bills. Yeah, walk the fuck away. Like that's not worth it. It's not worth trying to break down or prove. Like you are enough as you are. That's it.
Okay, that was actually perfect. That works out perfectly, and I'm hoping people take that in and understand that is out there. Like there are women who like really value you as a person, and if you can't find that, nigga, maybe it's you. Like if you can't find somebody who values you for you, either you're looking at the wrong women or nigga, maybe it's you. So yeah, that was actually perfect. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too. And I think we're at 30-minute mark. Like, can we break this up into a couple different like sections versus just having one long?
We're gonna have to. Yeah. All right.
And I was excited that aspect of my.
It's frozen on my side.
I don't know how we want to get in.
Can you hear me?
Give any thought to this before I'm flying by the seat of my pants. But we went into our relationship with different expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another component of that, which was my own personal insecurity. You watching at home, we get a lot of comments on how beautiful it is. We don't get a lot of comments on how handsome. Yeah, but they're pity. They're pity comments. They're like, "Oh no, you're good. You're attractive." Sure. I felt in a lot of ways, especially during the first year of our marriage, disproportion, not just in attractiveness, but I had a hard time feeling good enough for you you're so accomplished and you're so driven and you're so motivated and so able and capable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not, and I was, you know, man child, or as they call them in the Jungle Book, a man cub.
All right, that's an interesting subject. Insecurity.
Mm.
I like to think that I'm humble, but not particularly insecure. Like I feel like I'm realistic about myself, but in being realistic, I mean that's really just what it is, just being realistic. It's like, okay, well, if this thing can happen, if it's gonna happen, then it's gonna happen. But sitting around like worried about it happening, one, doesn't stop it from happening. Two, it's gonna keep me miserable on the way to the shit happening if it's gonna happen. I guess what's your experience with insecurity?
And dealing with you having insecurity or in my insecurity?
Your insecurity, whatever you're willing to share.
Um, Give me a second. Let me process that. So he's talking about how
Like you
when
feeling
you
not
look
good
at
enough.
apples like one to one, like comparing who he is or who she is, he didn't feel
Mm,
that he was worthy almost of her attention, let alone a relationship and a commitment. And you're saying, you don't
yeah.
necessarily have insecurities in who you are when comparing. And I'm assuming that's you comparing me to you. You're more trying to deal with the moment versus deal with what could be or could have been. Like you're not really trying to focus on what was and what could be. You're just trying to stay in the moment is what I'm hearing from you, and that keeps you humble. I guess
Mm,
for me personally, it's different angles from here. I know that my personality is very I'm judgmental, number one, and I have a grandiose personality, number two. And so it's very easy for me to, when we have disagreements or when we're in bad places, for me to just say some shit like I don't need this shit. I could do without this in my life. I could do a couple of things. But when it comes to, like, I don't think that's not necessarily an insecurity in itself. It's I guess the opposite end of the spectrum or whatever that is. But
mm-hmm.
what I've found is whenever I have disagreements with you that kind of cover fundamental issues for me, the insecurities doesn't lie within our partnership. It lies within my past. It lies within things that I haven't been able to fully grasp or define or verbalize, and as a result, I don't know how to explain why something is pissing me off the way it's pissing me off, like at to my core. um we had a fight recently, and I just looked at you like, in my head, I just wanted to choke the hell out of you. And granted, I didn't touch you. We have a non-violent relationship. We talk shit, but we don't touch each other for not in those kind of ways. It didn't depend on how you look at that. But anyway, um, but you know, the core issue that happened was, it was an insecurity that I needed to verbalize. I needed to give it a face so I can then figure out how to get over it. Um, I think the insecurities that I have in our partnership, like, is, again, is not necessarily driven by you, but it's exposed because of you. Because at that moment, I feel that we have a very loving relationship. Like we try to have space for each other. We have patience for each other. We have considerations for each other. And I don't think that's anything to do with us being married per se. I think that's just our friendship and trying to make sure that we are okay as people. That's our priority. And like I told you before, I think for me to fully, like, have comfort, I guess, in our relationship, I have to stop looking at it like a marriage, because I think marriage is so
Mhm.
socially driven. Like it's it's the
Right.
standard of marriage is created by the world. Um and as a result, it's destroyed by the fucking world. Just as easily as it's created by the world. The shit that the world puts in, that the world says is okay, it has an equal and opposite. And those factors, like, before it was you only get divorced or you only get married under these circumstances, only get divorced under these circumstances. And now that list went from two or three things to, well, he looked at me wrong. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And
Mhm.
so now I feel like,
Right.
um since I look at it like a friendship, it helps me narrow my vision, and it helps me approach the things that I am insecure about in a different manner. Like, if I believe in my heart that you're here to love me and I'm here to love you, then working through it as a friend makes more sense to me than trying to, make it work from a marriage point of view. I think for marriage, it's like you sweep shit underneath the rug and you hope it doesn't come back up again. For friendships call shit
Mhm.
out. Like, and friendships,
Right.
may talk shit, but it makes a safe space at the end of the day. Then it allows you to kind of grow together.
Mhm.
So I used to feel that you may see the pressures of the world, saying that you're supposed to be something. I've had plenty of people tell me that, well, he's not even, matching you in your energy or your output. And for them people, I will say, you're looking at it wrong. you're you're looking at my marriage wrong. You're looking at my marriage
Mhm.
from, again, the world's perspective. You're looking at what he's not doing for me according to what you think he's supposed to be doing for me. But you're not asking me what he really is doing for me. You're not asking me why I got married to him. You're just assuming that you know why. And you know, from that point of view between me and you, I would be interested in knowing, like, have you ever felt that pressure to try to match me and try to have the same outputs of me? And
Um, in certain respects, yeah, but I wouldn't consider them necessarily major things generally. Like, there were times, when I wasn't working, where it was like this feels weird,
mhm,
like like wondering, really just wondering more, like, what you were thinking, um, and wondering if I was doing enough. Like, I felt like I was bust assing, and for anybody who thinks, I guess being a homemaker isn't a job, it's a job, especially when a standard is set for it. I mean, everybody can run their house how they want to run their house, but depending on the standard that you try to run it at, it's a job. And I felt like I was bust assing to do that job when I was doing it. Um, but of course, I mean, and I guess you could probably relate to, like, just still not feeling like you're doing enough.
mhm,
So, uh, just as far as, I guess, like, I treat you where I was at, basically. So if you're working and making the money, I'm gonna try to match you here where I'm at.
mhm,
That's all I can do. I mean, that's what we agreed to at the time. So that's what I tried to do. Um, Other than that, like, especially like right now that we're both working again, I don't feel like I'm not um, up to par or up to standard because I don't make as much money as you. And that's just a matter of, like, understanding industries, understanding personality types. Like, I know where I'm at. It's not particularly, or at least, like, like where I am right now, it's not particularly where the money is. And I know where you are, almost no matter what you do, that's always where the money is.
mhm.
And I've kind of wanted to like transition into that, but at the same time, it's not like I want to do it because I want to catch up to you or match you or anything like that. Like it's just something that personally, I guess for one, I sort of want to challenge myself to do, and two, um, I mean, now that I think about it, like I want to lighten your burden too, because I for as much as you enjoy your job, you still taking a lot of stress from it. And I don't know if it's necessarily just the job or it's just the fact that you're an overachiever and then you want to do the job and you want to do this and you want to do that. Like no matter what, you like to do a lot. So I don't know if that plays a part, if it's just the job, but I I would like to take some burden off you if I. So that's the other motivation to, um, I guess like to so-called, match you financially. But in terms of like, I guess like, the day-to-day stuff, like just the relationship overall, um, like I said, one of the bases of a relationship for me, one of the R's is reciprocation. As long as people are always in it to give to each other, nobody should be left wanting. It shouldn't be a matter of somebody giving so much and somebody never giving back, or not, trying to do the best they can to, return. Not even a matter of returning, just like you're just always giving. You're not thinking about yourself all the time. Like you're always thinking of the other person. As long as you're giving to the other person, you reasonably should be able to expect something back. Um, Maybe you can't have expectations as to what it's supposed to look like, but you can always expect to get something back if you're both in this reciprocation mode of always giving to each other. So in that term, um, yeah, I haven't felt like um, like you give that much more than I do. Like I feel like I'm always just trying to give what I can, and I know you try to do the same.
Hmm. That's true. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I really like to unpack the whole idea of you trying to jump into what I'm doing in order to try to lighten my burden. I guess we are coming close to the end of our time today together, but just to have a moment to connect with you and that idea. Um, one thing that I have had to internalize and be okay with, from a different point of view, not from the one we're talking about right now, is that I've been in my profession for just 5, 6, 7 years. Right, you just got into your profession. Um, my profession started out, in my opinion, back then it was beautiful. I was probably bringing in like shit. I was bringing in a decent amount of money when I first started with AT&T. But now that I'm, here in enterprise sales, like it sales look completely fucking different compared to what it was back then. So
Right.
yeah, like I'm swimming around with so much potential. And in my position, there is no cap for how much money I can bring home. So
Right.
I could do damage if I really wanted to. What I'm trying to get to that is, I know people in your profession who's been doing it for 5, 6 years who have the same point of view, who feel that they have their own truck, shit, ain't nothing you can do. Like they can manage and dictate how much money they bring in. I have a cousin who, makes thousands of dollars a week driving for, a few hours a damn day. Like what you can do with
Hmm.
focus in your profession is ridiculous. It's just a matter of you staying in the profession and then like figuring out how to maneuver within it. One thing that I've noticed over years is that mastery is where the money is. Is not in jack of all trades. The money is in mastery. So if I can give you any feedback from that point of view, like I appreciate you wanting to lighten my burden. I look forward to you being able to do it my damn self. Shit, I know that I want to be out of corporate America in about 3 years. And then around that time, you should be getting into the core principles of what you're doing and figuring out how to completely exploit it from an entrepreneurial point of view. But until then, like I'm good, you know, like I can hold my part down. Like us doing it together lightens my burden, like already, like already, you know. So I'm just grateful that, you know, from a partnership point of view, that you were able to get going in your profession. And, you know, I look forward to how it develops at the end, because I know when you get ready to retire, if we do it right, it should be a bomb ass retirement that we leave, you know, some shit for our children and children's children, if we do it right. So, you know, it's all good. But we are at time, people. I got a child to pick up in about 6 minutes. So,
Yeah,
yeah, Vin Diesel.
got to go pick up our executive producer. All right, well, I have been Venom the Tiger Dragon, aka Ven Deezel, aka Ven Deezel the Optimist, and this has
Okay.
been my
And I
lovely
mean
wife
Efia.
and
Got
partner.
2,000 names. Yeah, Efia.
Yeah, yeah, you need some more. You need some more AKAs, man. I can't be doing this all by myself. But yeah, this has been Night Job, and we out. Douches.